Hello, everybody, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. We have Julia and Bipul with us, and we'll take a look at your guys' work first, if that's all right. I got a request from Aaron to look at his at the end because he's in a meeting. But Julia, let's start with yours a little bit. So we've got we'll start with the original one that we had. The super creepy one, which is again I loved it. I was blown away by it. This was the original. Let's go put these together with the updated one. So original, updated. You labeled it old at the top, which was helpful. I like that. Again, some super subtle tweaks here. I really like some of the changes that you made. I love that that the profile of the mountain in the background is much more defined. Like it looks like you lost smoke out of the chimney. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I decided to remove it because it's if it's snowing, the smoke should be different. So I decided to just remove it. It was simpler and cleaner.
Yeah, it's a really smart choice. It wasn't a note. It was something you did on your own, which is really cool. Which is, I think, like something that is important to this. It's like you learn this as you get more experience. But like early on, I was like, I'm only going to do the notes that they say. And yes, that's good, but there's also like other ways that you can improve the image that aren't necessarily in a note that you should just go ahead and do. The experience part comes in is like, when do you change something that people either won't notice or didn't mention, or versus something that they actually liked that you're now making different or worse. So that's like, you know what I mean? Like I've done that move a couple times, and they're like, I like that thing. Why did you change that? Anyway, the only thing I would do differently is I think that we've lost, like I kind of liked having a little bit more warmth on the door. Like there's something, like we just lost like just an inch of it, like just like a fraction of warmth in that light. I would just pull that back, but I think everything else looks great.
I added a bit more volumetric white light, so maybe that's why it's saturated.
Maybe just
take it
add
back.
or just add a little bit of warmth to that volumetric, maybe too, like because that would be But other than that, like there just appears to be more detail in the house, like especially up here in the snow. That looked really nice.
There was a note from Forest. From the Katatikarn chill.
Yeah, that was a really good one. It's a really good one. All right, cool. Does anybody else have any notes on this? And we'll hop over and look at your newer iteration. Yeah, cool. All right. So with this one, we've got some reference here, and like again, this is in contrast to the other two, which were pretty like extreme. Like one like super magical, the other super creepy. This is just like straightforward, pretty. This is just like feels like morning or possibly sunset, but it feels more morning to me.
Awesome! I went with morning, so cool.
yeah. But like this is, I think your color palette is really nice. I think that this kind of very like getting these cool tones in the snow, I think is working really well. Biggest things for me, there's a lot of like hard edge lines in the snow, and I'm not quite sure what those are. Like they look like shadows, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah, they should be. In theory, they should be shadows from trees out of camera, because the snow was. I did a previous version where the snow had no shadows, so it was very white, and it was the thing that took all of attention in the image, taking it away from the cabin.
Got it.
And so in the Katatikarn and Shield, they said maybe add some shadows. So I tried this, and I'm not convinced at all that it works.
I think it's good in theory. Sorry. No, please go.
I was just saying that I use the same trees that are in the scene, So in theory, this should work, but it's weird.
Yeah, so what's happening, there's a couple things. One, I think the tree shapes, because they have like these like bulbs of snow on them, like once you see them in the silhouette, they don't quite read as trees anymore. And the other thing is that the shadow hardness is just a little bit too crisp. We can obviously see these shapes in here, But one of the things is, like, as the sun is lower to the horizon line, there's actually more I don't know the scientific words for things, but basically there's like as you get lower to the atmosphere, you see more of like just kind of like junk in the atmosphere a little bit more. Like you notice this like even on Mars they have their sunset turns blue, and it's because like the elements that we're looking through in order to see it like change the wavelength of the light. It's just we get a more clear focus when it's up higher in the sky. Anyway, when it comes down lower, there's just more stuff that it passes through, so the shadows actually soften quite a bit. They don't just elongate, but they actually soften. So I think that these are now feeling a little bit too harsh. I actually don't, like once we soften them, their shape might not be as bad, but I think they're a little bit crisp. Obviously we're doing a sunrise thing, and so keeping this these light rays coming in is great. Just from like an artistic composition level, sometimes it's better to add a little bit more of an angle, make them a little bit more diagonal, like color here. Like because right now they're on a wavelength like that, like just making them a little bit more, not quite 45 degree, but just putting them at a greater angle actually makes it a little bit more dynamic. When you kind of flatten them, it just doesn't feel as visually interesting. I like that you've got a lot of variation in the color in there, which is really nice too. Yeah, I think that those are the two big ones that I would work on for now. Again, I think you could probably eliminate the smoke on this one too, now that we've, because I think it's kind of bluish color and just kind of throwing me off. Anybody else?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can I ask you what you think about the sky? Because I tried like 5 of them before finding something that I liked.
I think it's okay. I think it's good. I mean, the one thing about I'm okay with it because I wasn't paying that close attention to it. I might soften the shapes of the clouds a little bit, just like blur them a little bit, just because the scene itself isn't 100% like photorealistic in nature. It has a little bit of a stylized quality to it, and the second you add like photoreal skies to it, like it starts to kind of like by contrast makes it feel more stylized than it is. But it honestly like I think it's okay. I think it works fine. It did not stick out to me as being problematic. But I'll let others jump in, see if anybody else has any thoughts. Yeah, it looks good. All right, cool. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
No, thank you.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome. All right, Bipul, you were up next. Okay, cool. So we've got beautiful start to this, by the way. Love the reference. I believe this is Raya and the Last Dragon, right? Yeah, cool. Great lighting on that scene. So like, we've got the rim light happening here, the light coming on her and hitting the background a little bit. Kind of a similar thing going on. Got like this subtle background. Her tones are bright and really popping her off. I think that the okay, so the big thing for me is there's a couple things. One, everything in this shot is cool, right? Like the glowing thing is cool in color. It's all kind of cool light that's hitting her. One of the things that now that we've introduced this warmer tone is that now there's a little bit of a disconnect because there's cool light on her face and warm tones on her hand. Even though she's looking at it, I feel like she has a greater connection whatever the light is over here because it's like because this light source isn't actually reaching her face, and she's kind of like mesmerized by it, right? So what my point being is I think we should get a little more of that warm light on her face. The other is if you look at the position of the light on her hand versus the position of the actual sparks and also the reference, you'll notice that the light is hitting the back of her hand. Her hand here looks really beautiful. There's like shaping, or a little bit of a rim light, and a little bit of subsurface. Where here, the light's hitting the underside of the hand is almost like it's coming up from underneath, and we can kind of see it's wrapping around. So that's kind of messing us up a little bit. So it almost feels like the light on her hand should be coming from back behind. And then the glowing bits feel a little bit yellow. I would put more red in their color too to kind of get that kind of warmer tone. Candle looks good. Like this subsurface on the wax there looks nice. Shaping on her looks really good. And same thing too, like connecting her eye dings to this color and what she's seeing. Right now, again, it feels like it's all about that thing coming in from the side. But yeah, depth of field looks good. The structure of the shot looks nice. Her hair looks great in terms of like getting that little bit of rim on there. It would be nice to get some like specular light in here just to create some more shaping. But I think the start of it's looking really good. Do you have any questions about that? Does that all make sense?
That makes sense.
Great. I'll let others chime in. Anybody else have any thoughts on this guy? Good stuff.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So story-wise, is this character putting off sparks? Like, is she delivering sparks to the candle, or is she absorbing candle?
This is absorbing the light.
Okay, so it's going from the candle to the character?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a fair question. I assumed it was going towards her because it was like coming out of the candle, but yeah, that's a good question.
I'm just wondering if there's anything to do with the sparks that can tell that story. Like, I think if all your sparks were big at the candle and got smaller as maybe they got towards her fingers, that would indicate some kind of direction. And then I don't know if you're doing any kind of comp work, but you could like do like a completely different shader. Like you could re-render this character with a completely different shader that's like just a warm, abstract-y kind of thing, and you could like kind of have that in her fingertips, like and like change her fingertips from like not just SSS, but like just something. I don't know.
That's cool. That's a good. That's cool.
That might be more involved than you wanted to put into it, but that's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just looking at too were her lips, and I like the color of the lips and like this idea of like a darker shade, but they're getting a little bit on the cool side, and they start to feel like there's not blood underneath the surface there. So I think keeping them dark is cool, but just and this will change when the lighting changes, but just make sure they stay a little like because you want lips to be a little bit on the warmer side, even when they have lipstick or cosmetics on. All right, cool. All right, great. Let's take a look. I tell you what. Let's. All right, we've got Andre. We got you. And then we'll. Aaron, I assume you're okay from your other time commitment.
Yeah. I mean, if they grab me, they grab me.
Do you want me? Would you rather me do yours now or later?
No, whatever. Whatever works best for you.
I'll do Andre first, then I'll move to you, and then we'll go over to Holly because I don't think Holly's here. Yeah. All right. Cool. So, Andre, are you able to unmute?
Can you guys hear me?
We can. Hello, buddy.
Hello. Finally back after a while.
All right, so talk us through what have you been up to? What's going on with this guy? Lots of spinning lights. I love it.
Yeah, I decided to do another version of the RoboFight, and try to do this as like the other one is as clean and modern as possible, and I tried to do this as chaotic. I don't know.
It's cool. Like so
fallen world.
Yeah. I love the idea of the spinning lights. You've done a really great job of like it looks like at least the ones that are in camera slow down when the speed of the like actually they may not be. They may be going to the at the normal speed. But did you it was this one that I saw. That one slows down for them, which is nice. Or maybe not. Maybe
they all slow down.
It's great.
When the movie slowed down.
That's the tough part about like these like those little visual tricks of like a slowdown and like the actual animation slows down is you have to like everything has to slow down with it. It's crazy. But no, you did a great job of that. The biggest thing for me is that I don't find enough like dark spaces in between the flashing lights. because they're like or maybe there's a lot of them, so it's just kind of like filling it in. I want to see areas go darker than like especially like back over here. Like back over here, I want that to be in like a little bit of darker space. I just want like to feel more of those pockets of the spinning lights a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think problem. I think the problem is that I have these, which I thought I don't know if it translates the way I wanted to, but these lights coming from above, the blue lights, supposed to be flashlights, like guards or something.
Yeah, they feel too big. Like I was this one especially, unless they're like that feels like the flashlight would be smaller in.
Okay.
I think that made it feel like almost like searchlights, like they were like big, like almost theatric spotlights that they were using.
Mm-hmm.
I would also turn off the ceiling lights. I don't think you need those.
Okay. I had it beforehand. I had them like flickering. But what's asked?
Oh, you broke out there for a second.
But yeah. I had them flickering before, but I got the guy that was doing
Francesco?
cheeks on Francesco, yeah. Asked me to leave them on all the time. But maybe I can just leave a couple of them.
Yeah, I think what he was reading is and I might be doing the same thing is like this idea that so lots of times when you're lighting stuff, there's like, how do we add complexity? How do we add more layers to it? How do we build on it? In this particular case, you already have a lot of complexity with the spinning lights, and it's like how do we ease back on the other things to make sure that because that's really the main visual of the scene, and then like how do we ease back on the other stuff to make sure the parts that we want to focus on really read. Yeah. So for me it was turning off the lights. For him it was turning them on consistently. But I think turning them off.
Okay.
Just try it.
All right,
just try
I'll try that.
Also, her hair feels very glowy, and it kind of like isn't. Like there's. And I guess, like this area, it feels like it's bright without too much light on them. Yeah, I think. It'd be nice to find a way to allow the hair to go into some darkness too, and then. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted the hair to be like white, but it might be too white.
It feels yellow to me too. It feels almost blonde.
Yeah.
It's also like
I'll work on that.
Yeah. It's also like.
And I also.
Yeah, we're good.
I also think that there's too much volumetric light on it. I'm going to try to isolate the volumetric lights one by one so that I can control them, and then maybe tweak it so that you can have the pockets of light better.
And we might need to. I think it'll be okay. Let's say we might need to figure out which, either the reds or the blues, like which one is the real dominant light source too. Because I mean, I'm not saying do this yet because I want to see what it looks like when we darken down some of the other stuff. Because it might be that the red lights are just providing like some little bits of red rim on her, but the real shaping from her comes from these like top down spotlights where they're shining them like directly on her. Trying to get that figured out, but we'll play with that more later. But I think this is cool, and I think like knowing that we want to play up the gold glow out of the stomach, I think it would be important to time the lights where they go dark right here, so that that stands out. We're not seeing the other spinning lights. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stands out, and then the lights kind of. So, just from like.
I see.
Cool. Hey, good stuff. Right,
what do you think of the overall?
Overall, I think overall it feels like that part where you're brainstorming ideas. It doesn't feel like a finished polished piece yet. I feel like it's getting there. I think we're just working through some ideas right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
but I think there are bits there, like I said, the spinning lights that we haven't seen before. You know, we've seen this project 10 or 15 times now from different people, and like you've got some really unique, fun stuff going on here that's going to be really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, cool. Aaron. All right, let's take a look. Got new versus the previous. I like what you did with the lights. I think it's really smart. I like turning off the two, keeping the one on. I think that's the right choice.
Yeah, and then I also like kind of cascaded their scale too, so they looked. We're at the point now where we're definitely playing with some forced perspective, like throughout this shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would ever wind up in a film, but
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think I saved anything from this, but so that in the Peanuts movie that we were doing, you only ever see the kids like in profile in 3/4 length, and that's pretty much it. Do you ever see their heads like that? Because if they ever like turned and looked at the camera, their perspective, like their faces would be all jacked up. Because like we kind of like just hung their eyes on their sides. Like don't worry too much about that. It's only like honestly for game development that you really have to worry about that.
yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
With the lights, I was just thinking that, you know, like the bulb on this one feels a little dark. I would just brighten the bulb there. But in terms of I think the shaping on the character looks really good. I'm seeing the fingers, reading the toes, feeling the scales, maybe a little bit more like now we're just like fine tuning stuff, like maybe a little bit more light on that on whatever that long hooky claw is.
Yeah.
The dew claw thing. And then I think it's nice having this light inside the mouth. I just want to see some more contrast in there. Just because there's like it feels a little bit lifted. Like if we some dark.
Yeah.
But I think that the lighter values in there are good. It's just getting that darkness back in there. And then the eye, I'm not quite sure what to do with the eye. And so I am very open to suggestions here on how we should handle this.
I am open to it too. These animals don't.
I am closed off to suggestions. I feel very.
Well, no, because like in the lore, these animals don't have glowing eyes, and there are other ones that do. So I don't love the idea of the glow. I do want to like try to add in some of the eye veins into this as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add in an eye ding. I think, right?
Yeah.
Like that would make sense. But yeah, it's glowed, but like by being glowed, it's kind of flattened out a little bit. It feels a little non-shaped, I guess.
I'm just trying to because I'm trying to think of like what it would look like. Because the great thing about eyes, and I've talked about this in the classes, is you have like so many options of what you could do with them. You can make like a dragon slit eye if you wanted to. You can make a more of a snake, like never blinking large eye. There's like frog's eyes they have like a really unique eye thing going on too, and you could add like stuff like this in there.
Yeah. So because I'm based in 1993, I have to have the slit eye. It's like it's just part of it. It's not until later where they go with standard pupils, but really I'm open to any kind of treatment to them because like I think the glow is a cool idea. I just don't know if it's really like working.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I smell Velociraptor. Velociraptor eyes. Yeah. Like this is
go to do Crash McCreary Velociraptor and let's see what we get.
What is Crash McCreary?
Yeah. MCCREERY, I think.
MC.
I'm sorry if you can hear the pounding in my background too.
I'm not spelling that right. Let's hope. Yeah, there we go. Google. Last time I had one. Here's kind of one.
I can pop my reference over for that I use for the shaders.
No, it's okay.
If that's helpful.
I think.
I mean, there you go.
But I think the biggest one is like I think you said it. It's basically just getting more detail in there and then taking down the glowiness and then just allowing the eye ding to really drive it. I would say unless others have any thoughts on this, I almost say that like that might be like the main focus at this point is really getting that eye in there. The other thing I was just thinking about, I'm looking at these two. I was wondering if we could pull back their saturation just a touch.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that looks good. I would say pull back their saturation. I think the shaping on the, I think that looks like really, really good. There might be some room to let's see if we get more, like even more contrast to make it almost feel like wet on the skin, but without. Let's see, that's tricky. Because like once we do it, then we start losing some of the detail. But I was seeing if like there's a way to get.
What is generally the rules on like on black? Like, because there's definitely values in there that are straight 000. Like they're receiving almost nothing. So I know with like Batman the animated series, they were like, yeah, go for it, black all the way. But that's obviously a different animation style than
I mean, I think
traditional CG.
I think the biggest, and this is from a lighter standpoint versus what the final image is. Mm-hmm. From a lighter standpoint, you always kind of want to, like, it's not going to work here, but if I, I'm trying to think if I have an EXR handy. I don't. If I went into the image and I turned up the exposure, like I usually will crank up the exposure. As long as I'm seeing, like, there's value in a lot of this, right? It's just like kind of clipping off into blacks, kind of back in here. And if you have the EXR rendered out, that might lift as well. This is just like a JPEG or PNG compression, right? And same thing with the brights. Like as long as there's like value ranges and it doesn't clip off to just being like pure white or pure black, that generally works out well. You can also slide like the gamma too, will also allow you to see some things.
Okay.
But yeah, it's as long as there's some value in there that you can be tweaked, then because the idea is, again, from a lighter standpoint, it then goes to color correction, and then they have room to play with it in color correction. After that, you can definitely have some blacks in there, but it's a lot of just like making sure you have some leeway for post effects.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's looking great.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
I'm gonna bounce just so that I'm not too long away from work, but thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Go back to work. All right. See you.
Bye.
See you, buddy. All right. Okay. Last up, we will take a look at Holly's reel. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, nice simple titles. Doesn't need to be fancy. Again, you got your name, you got the job you're going for. You can obviously change that per application if they have a specific job title that you want. Like if they just, like some places are like, if they have just a lighting job, then you might want to change that to just lighter. If it's just a compositing job, change to just compositing. Just because they might look at that, like everyone looks at it from their own internal eyes and then their own internal thing. So just something to be aware of. But for this, it's perfect with your preferred contact. First shot out of the gate. Second, don't worry about the Houdini logos. That's just me being weird. Pull this back a little bit. Okay, in terms of the breakdown of the reel, I think it's. I'm trying to think. I think the order of the shots is good. I'm just wondering about like the animation versus still. It's interesting that we go from like still shot, some animation to like a long animation at the end. If we can get this shot in a really good spot, I think that shot should be first. Just to like show, because that's like a good character animation stuff. There are one thing about this one I was noticing was her hair looks a lot better. He seems to have like a white outline around the top of his head. I would just kind of ease that in. This blur on the railing here feels a little odd, like especially because I feel like it's tight right down the middle and I can see it's kind of there. There just seems like to be a haze as opposed to like depth of field blur. So just make sure that that is like kind of universally blurry back there, because once we're past them, yeah, we wouldn't see that kind of interior sharpness with the blur on the outside. So with this one, in terms of like the actual lighting on it, I think that there are, you know, like I don't feel like this character is too grounded in the backseat. I feel like there could be more shadow there. Like her eyes get very glowy at some parts. I like that. I like this thing passing by. I think that reflection looks really good. But overall, it's like it feels kind of dusty overall. Like it feels like there's like if I look at the if I'm looking for any black points, there's none, right? Like it's all very lifted. I don't start to see darks until I get up to about like 20% into the image, which we want to see some darker values in there, just to get like the full range. Now outside of the window has gone dark, where we're not like seeing any of the environment out there anymore. It's just like it turns it from feeling like daytime, because they feel like they're being lit in daytime, but we're not seeing anything outside, which kind of creates this weird disconnect, like they're actually on some movie set or something. The character, the child in the backseat, his skin feels very red, like almost like sunburned, and I think her skin's looking better. And this is kind of a silly one. I was thinking of too, like her. Got sun coming here. She should actually get like. It's almost like she should like there should be some refraction from that mirror back onto her face when she gets real close to it. Like it almost feels like there should be like she should get like a little bit brighter, like it's reflecting light a little bit back at her. Because I'm trying to think, like when you get close to a mirror in a car, I think that might actually happen. I think it might actually throw some more light back at you, but. Just to kind of create that connection to what she's looking at again. I don't know, like, yeah, like this character here, we've kind of lost some of the shaping. It's kind of just one. It's a little bit monotone. And there's like blurry shadows here, but like crisp shadows. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Yeah, I know we worked on this one for a while, but I do think that we need to. I think that this one has the potential of being like leading your demo reel, so I think we should really focus in on getting this one looking as good as we can. Or another animation similar to this. I think that really just makes your reel feel much more rounded out. Does anybody else have any thoughts? Anything? Did I miss anyone today? That is the last I have. Let me just double check, make sure there's any late submissions. I think we have them all. All right, cool. All right, well, thank you very much for joining in today, everybody. It's a pleasure as always to have you. I posted the schedule. It's like a tentative schedule for the rest of the week. I think it's like I have to go a little bit earlier on Wednesday and Friday than I normally do, just because of my work schedule. But yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. But hopefully that can stay locked into place. And I will see you all again on Wednesday. But keep posting. Tuesday, Thursday, I'll do written critiques. Wednesday, Friday, I'll be back with the videos. All right, I will talk to you all very soon. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.